one of the number one things people do, especially inspired how we just pour, chili on burgers. People just started kind of tagging us and like In-N-Out and Whataburger and McDonald's or Wendy's, and so we're like, hey, let's just make this a contest for people and give the winner 10,000.
Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of the E-Commerce Evolution Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Curry, CEO of OMG Commerce. And today we are going to unpack a phenomenal success story, a top 1% Shopify store, one of the coolest brands, one of the tastiest brands you'll encounter. We're going to be looking at the remarkable success of Fresh Chili Company. I've got Chris Lang on the show today. He's co-founder of Fresh Chili Company. He also is involved in email marketing and helps run an organic social agency. And we met through Ezra Firestone's Blue Ribbon Mastermind. And he's just overall a really cool and really smart dude. And so with that, welcome to the show, Chris Lang. And how's it going, man?
Good, man. Yeah, thank you for having me. Actually, drove up to the mountains today. We're going to go get on the lake and some paddle boards in a little bit after this. And so
amazing.
I had my
son. So what lake and tell the folks, where you are so everyone can be jealous.
Yeah, it's New Mexico is where we're at. So Hatch, New Mexico is the chili capital of the world. And it's just think like Napa is the wine, right? And so we live in Las Cruces. So you travel through the desert, you travel through white sands, and then you end up in these mountains in Ruidoso. And the name of the lake is Grindstone Lake. And it's just a good place to paddleboard, fish, kind of enjoy the cooler weather. It's already creeping up in the 90s, so it's in the 70s right now. So we're just going to try to take advantage of that today.
Go enjoy some cool weather. Yeah, my stepbrother actually just vacationed in New Mexico. It's like the second or third year he's done it. He said it's phenomenal. We live in Missouri, and so I'll have to get out there and check it out. Now, I am a huge hot sauce fan, chili fan, spicy fan, not like so spicy that you have to wear gloves or that you pass out or faint because of hotness or anything like that. But I love a little kick, right? So what makes Hatch, New Mexico, the chili capital of the world? Why is that?
Yes, I mean, that's a great question. So what I love to tell people is that New Mexico is the untold story of America history. Growing up in America, you have a very much an East Coast education level of America, and a lot of it's actually here in New Mexico. You had kind of the Spanish, missionaries coming up through Mexico into New Mexico, and so the oldest wine region is in America. And
is there in New Mexico? What part of New Mexico is that?
Yeah, so actually the southern part of New Mexico in 1629.
Interesting.
The Spanish friars planted the first grape, and the great name of that grape is called Mission. So that's the name of the grape. And it's just been a fertile hotbed for agriculture, and so everything from grapes to lechuga, that's lettuce in Spanish, pecans, chile, cotton, so it's actually the number one producer of pecans in the world. Our area is also the number one or one of the top 2 to 3 producer of onions in America. It actually produces more onions than Chile, actually. And so, when you think of the kind of the Mexican plate and fajitas, you got onions, you got peppers, you kind of got it all. I mean, obviously the oldest cattle drive existed through New Mexico as well. So kind of just a really great history. And the Rio Grande that flows, from like Texas up into Colorado, is really kind of the base, line for agriculture in a lot of ways, throughout history. And so all the farmlands kind of, hug up against the riverbed. And, the chili, was kind of grown by native Pueblos, early on. And then it was adopted by other kind of farmers. And the farmer that we work with now, his family's been doing it for 6 generations. They came from Italy into the area and 6 generations strong. And, it's just something that I'll tell you what it is. It's addicting. Okay. I'm just going to be totally honest with you. Okay. So what is the secret? There is something about it that it's almost like crack cocaine. And I'm not even joking. Like it's like one of those things that like the official smell of New Mexico is the smell of roasted green chili. That is the official smell. Like I think we're the only state in America that have an official smell because it's intoxicating, that capsaicin. And so, and then, the flavor of it is that you kind of have this kind of thick, meaty chili pod. And then it's, the flavor of it, especially when it's flame roasted, it's like nothing that anyone has experienced. And so, the way that Italians kind of brought tomatoes into kind of a Western cuisine, right? I really feel like that's where we're at with American cuisine over the next 20, 30 years as Hispanics are the number one demographic, and I think American taste palates are getting a little spicier. That's where they want the flavor. And so it actually is closer to, it's a fruit. It's closer to a tomato than most people realize. But it's just think of it as like a more flavorful, spicier type of tomato.
Man, sounds absolutely magical. I can't wait to visit some of those places and see the farm in person.
Yeah.
But leading up to this, of course, you hooked me up and got to order some product from Fresh Chili Company, and I've been cooking on a Blackstone for quite some time now. Love to cook.
Yes,
and love making different types of burritos. I love a Cali B, California style burrito, and so with the fresh tortillas that you cook on the griddle, and then carne asada and sometimes fries, and then adding the hatch green chilies. Oh my goodness. I know that may not be traditional Cali B, but come on, it was awesome.
It is.
So a few other people in my family, extended family, are into spice, and they were raving about hatch green chilies from Fresh Chili Company. And so you're really good stuff, man. Kudos to you for creating an amazing product and telling an amazing story. And as people are listening to this, they're like, dang, this guy tells a good story, right? Like, and then so we're going to get into storytelling here and how you do that, because I know you're all about storytelling, community building, strategy to grow a great brand. And so we're going to unpack that as we go. But I want to share a couple stats about Fresh Chili Company, because I think this will blow people away. It's top 1% Shopify, right? Over the last 365 years, you're up 58%. ROAS 3.74%, MER 27%, website conversion rate 4.96%, so pushing 5% on conversion rate, just insane. Year to date, though, so far you're up 85%, so the growth rate is accelerating, which is phenomenal. And listen, it's a great product as we've discussed, but you're clearly doing a lot of things well. So can you unpack that a little bit for us? Like, what have been the keys to this meteoric rise, aside from just a killer product?
Yes, it's about it's really about the story, and I'll go into why, and not really just have a cop-out answer, right? Because as I kind of told you, chili is a way of life in New Mexico and throughout the Southwest. So West Texas through Southern California, and for all the transplants that moved to Florida, from those places. And so, my partner, who, he and his wife were cooking this recipe in their home for his real estate clients. And this was his dad's recipe. Again, it was passed down from another generation. And so they were making this product out of their home. I am an entrepreneur and had some success in some other industries locally here. And they reached out to me. It's like, hey, we'd like to sell this online. We think we got something here. And funny enough, my wife had actually just bought a jar around that holiday season, or found a jar somehow, and I tasted it. And so, Hatch has really done a good job of kind of branding itself, for chili. But I saw an opportunity that everyone was focused on retail, and there really wasn't a lot of competition online. And I just saw it as an opportunity to really tell not just my partner's story. Obviously, that's the foundation. But I was like, with this opportunity of like, what does Hatch Green Chili do? It brings family and friends together over their favorite recipes. around the dinner table, like it was bringing people together. And so how did I make it the customer kind of the hero, kind of really their story too? And I would say one of the biggest things we did is we had a Facebook group, and it just wasn't just hash chili everything. Obviously, we could have grown that really a lot faster, but we kept it around fresh chili products, specifically, kind of kept it private, a little more exclusive. And then we started selecting weekly winners, recipe of the week winners. And then we turned those weekly recipe of the week winners into a cookbook. And all of a sudden, those people have something tangible to show their family and friends. Hey, check out my recipe, check out my story, that is aligned also with the fresh chili story. And so for me, that's probably been the biggest thing that we've done, is we've really just kind of, how do we bring people together over their favorite meals?
It's amazing. It's amazing. And that's really what it's about. I mean, that's the magic of food, right? We eat food obviously because it's enjoyable and we have to have it to survive. But like the magic of food is the gathering, right? And the sharing and the, hey, I want you to taste this recipe and I want you to try these fresh chilies in with a chip or with the burrito or whatever. And it's a magical experience. And so you saw an opportunity to sell online. And I think we've all had this experience, right? We walk down the aisle at the local grocery store. And even if we're at a place, maybe it's in the local section or we're at a local health food store or something, and we'll see some salsas or some chilies, but you don't know the story, right? You don't really know what's behind this, and is it good or is it not good? I say this jar is $12, this one's $6. Like what's the difference? I don't know. And so you leaned into a channel that was under leveraged, told a great story, and now it's really grown. And so I know the cool thing about what you guys are doing is you're doing a lot with organic storytelling.
Correct.
You're also leaning heavily into paid, as every good Shopify brand is to a certain degree. And so can you kind of talk about the balance there of organic to paid? And again, I know that all kind of ties back to storytelling.
Yeah. I mean, I've been buying Meta ads since 2011, I think, in some way or shape or fashion. And I actually don't do this for anyone else. To me, it's a very, I feel like every season of Meta, I mean, I feel like 2019, 2020, 21, like I feel like every year is like
every season of Meta. I like that.
Every season of Meta.
A lot of distinct seasons. Yeah.
And I remember even last year, like January, February, where it was just like, man, what is going on here? And so that's where the foundation of kind of the cooking group, organic social, has really kind of, I would say, helped carry us through really hard times, especially when you marry it with retention, right? With some really solid retention strategies, because I know when Meta is sort of volatile, I can lean on my community and I can lean my retention strategies to kind of carry the brand through. Obviously, if you got some product drops and those kind of things, that helps. But the thing that I really do now, I really marry the two strategies together. So I actually do a lot of testing of boosting organic posts. And I'm looking for kind of buy signals, and, how many likes, how many comments, how many shares, how many engagements. And I've constantly just kind of always kind of thought of them as a unified platform, whereas everyone treats them very separately. Paid is doing paid and organic's doing organic, and they don't really talk to each other. But I don't really believe in that philosophy. I believe that, once you have a good strategy for both, then it really sets you up for success, long term. Again, I think we completed our 6th year. This will be our 7th year. And it's because we have kind of both really educating people top of funnel, but also, testing creative that if it's working well, we'll throw the ASE campaign and sort of let it run its life cycle as a winner.
That's great, man. And so just to unpack that a little bit. So you're making organic post, storytelling post. Maybe it's a recipe. Maybe it's telling, what the founder is up to, cooking or making things.
Exactly.
So you create an organic post, you boost it, just plain old boost it, see how it performs. And then if it performs well, you'll turn that into an ASE ad.
Exactly.
Nice. Are you finding that a lot of your winning ads are coming from that pool of ads, or do a lot of your winners come from, ads you created with the intention of it being an ad?
No, I mean, if you look at our ASC library, it's going to be mostly live videos from the farm or videos that
Yeah.
people really like the authenticity, and I know some brands struggle with it. It's because you're a food category. You know how many other foods are out there too competing for the same thing? I just don't believe, that I know that we as founders are showing up, every day and every week for our customers. And I think our customers see that. And, a lot of people treat Meta like, I kind of like it to a casino now. And it almost feels like a money slot machine. And, if you just want to go in and put in a quarter and try to get 50 cents back, I mean, you're just playing the wrong game. You really got to tell a story.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, if you look at what has good marketing been from the beginning of time, it's good storytelling. It's storytelling to the right audience in the right way with a clear offer attached to it. And that's really it. And I'm a firm believer that every brand is in the business of whatever they sell, plus they're a media company, right? They're in the business of getting and keeping attention and then moving people to take action. And so that really begins with a good story and the ability to tell great stories. And so let's unpack that a little bit. So you say some of your best content is on the farm, showing people where the chilies are grown. Is it like a combination of that plus seeing the product? Like I saw a post just recently and it was like a taco or something, dipping it, in the chili sauce. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so hungry right now. But talk about, what does the creative mix look like? What's working? And then maybe unpack a little bit of your creative testing philosophy.
Yeah, I'll kind of start from the back there. So I have a philosophy on Meta where I'm posting up to 7 times a day on Facebook. And people are like, well, that's too much. Not really. I mean, people are just thumb scrolling nonstop, right? And I also have the stats to prove that it's working. So I'm not concerned. I don't know if every brand can do that, but we're at a place where we can do that. But the philosophy behind that is like, think of your Shopify product display page. Okay, you got your carousel images, you got your hero product. Then what do you have? You might have a testimonial. You might have a money back guarantee. You might have an evergreen photo. You might also have like ingredients or how it's made, materials, and then also the one of the other ones would be, like a how to use, the product, the best case. And then, marry that, the last 7th one would be like a video reel, some kind of like, how you're using the product or, and so when you think of like, hey, I don't know to post every day, go to your product display pages. There's your game plan. And that's basically what we're focusing on. And we're really focusing on educating people, every day. And then we rotate all those posts through the entire catalog. We have over 50 plus products. And so we rotate, we have all that line, we have all those 7 benefits lined up for every one of the products, and we rotate that messaging out. And I guess one thing I didn't mention was behind the scenes farm stuff. That is our foundation. So most people don't have a foundation.
Right.
They only focus on creative. Okay. So they're like, okay, we got to be creative. We got the ad, what is this? And you're just sort of like, okay, build a foundation. It's a very simple process. It's about education. Now, then when we go to the farm, that's the creativity. That's the stuff that's going to move the needle for us from an ad perspective. But guess what? When we go out to the farm and we have, say, a jalapeno mustard, you know what? I saw that jalapeno mustard, a couple weeks ago. We got to really think about how customers' consideration cycles, 1 day, 7 day, whatever you want to call it. But we don't really spend enough time trying to educate them through the entire process. And because I was a guy who 30-day marketing plans, 90-day marketing plans, 6 months, annual, I've done it all. But what was missing is now I don't have to do any of that because I'm just rotating through all my products. And that's really helped us, with just kind of educating and also on conversion. And then going back to kind of the farm thing, what set us kind of different was we always went to the farm. My partner always did a great job of making sure we get to the farm and we do some videos. And we kind of talked about the product, or maybe the farmer was there and we talked to the farmer. But one day we were driving to the farm and I was like, you know what we should do? He's like, what's that? And I was like, let's grab a cheeseburger and let's just pull down the gate of the pickup truck and then let's just pour our chili on it and eat it. And then if you see my partner, he's like Sam Elliott meets Morgan Freeman. He's got the voice, he's got the look. I mean, he looks like an old Hollywood Western star. So, I mean, obviously that helps a lot. I've done videos too. And, but the reality of it is like when we did that, we unlocked something that was crazy because these cheeseburger, like there's more people that watch these cheeseburger videos than watch an NBA game now, which is really weird to think about. Right?
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Part of that, the NBA ratings are down. I still am an NBA fan, but part of that is, man, we want authentic content and we love our food. And it's just something really, really special. So that's crazy. Kudos to you guys. Just
really kind of marry that connection of like, oh, this has to be the freshest product because they're literally standing in front of the farm eating with it. Yeah. And so that was just
I mean, I love how you talk about that. You start with a strategy, you start with a platform, right? You don't begin with I need to create an ad. You start with hey, what is our story? Our story is these are fresh chilies, right? From the farm, a real farm in Hatch, New Mexico, the chili capital of the world. And these are family recipes. And we've got, Sam Elliott, not literally, but like your co-founder is like Sam Elliott. And he's the farmer, right? And so we're going to start with that. We'll rotate through our products. We'll try to tell these stories in a unique way. We'll do fun stuff like pop open the tailgate, eat a burger, put some chilies on it. And so you're starting with a foundation, you're starting with strategy, then you're expanding from there. Really makes a lot of sense.
And again, just sort of everyone has it backwards. They do paid, they do retention, and then they're thinking about what creative they need. And it's like, no, you need a foundation first. And that's really, I mean, again, you and I know some really savvy Shopify entrepreneurs. I'll go and look at their organic social and there's nothing there. And I'm like,
nothing.
You're leaving money on the table, or you're leaving growth on the table, or lifetime value on the table. I mean, whatever you want to call it. It's just, does it take work? Yes, it takes work. And we also do a little bit more.
Anything worth doing does, right?
Right. And we also do a little bit more systematic, like where we like and comment on posts on Instagram. We go on the explore page. We go on the Reels page. We go on the search. We look for terms. We engage with posts and stories and DMs, and we'll DM influencers. So again, it is a strategy. It's not as just simple as just creating content and posting it. But I wouldn't say that it's taking more than an hour or two a day, for us to do this for ourselves. And so again, I think a lot of people just don't know where to start. And I think maybe that's a disconnect because there probably hasn't been a lot of course boys on Twitter selling this kind of information. So like, that's probably why it doesn't exist.
It's maybe not as flashy, not as sexy, not as enticing, or not as a throw a switch and get results.
Yeah. The number one thing people are like, well, what's the return on the results? It's like, Meta sort of holds that close to the chest because they want the attribution, right?
Right.
And so, but when you marry it with the paid, then you see the results because the ads are performing better because there's already a little bit of social proof.
Totally makes sense. Well, I want to unpack a couple of other things that you mentioned are working. One of them is search visibility. And this is interesting from a couple perspectives. One, I've been a Google guy for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm really a fan of just any marketing that works. So that's my foundation. I love great brands. I love great storytelling. I love marketing that works. But I've been doing Google forever and did SEO back in the early 2000s. So I've always loved search. But you said organic Google is up 76%. and now some ChatGPT queries are up.
Yeah.
But can you talk about that a little bit? What is driving that Google growth and ChatGPT growth? What's making that happen?
You're talking about my biggest pain point I'm going through right now. Like, I'm trying to get to number one on Google for the term hatch green chili. And I'm number two.
That's amazing. It's amazing. But the difference in traffic, as we well know, from 1 to 2 is pretty significant. But kudos to you, man. Being number 2 in a highly competitive, hotly contested term, that is no small feat. So kudos to you.
No, I appreciate it. But, we could just lower customer acquisition costs down if we could just get to number one. So and so it's something that's interesting right now. And you'll be able to talk to more, brevity in kind of this use case. But what's interesting is a lot of our social media videos that we do from Facebook are actually showing up in Google's feed.
Yep.
A lot of social content is really starting to influence searches. And then ChatGPT, again, they're opening up the like Shopify brand listing. If you want to list your product on ChatGPT, there's a submission process right now that they're going through. And but also they are pulling up information from us and from our top competitor on Google. And it's something where recipes are obviously going to be a big factor in what we do. And backlinking, I think, is probably the hardest thing that we've, it's been the hardest thing to do for us. It probably is going to move the needle the most for us. We're actually working with a firm right now that, is trying to help us to get to number one. And the reality of it is, that timeline looks like it might be August, but at the same time, I think the influence of chat right now is really quite compelling, and not in addition to YouTube search, TikToks. And so we're actually in the process of going through all our hard drives, terabytes of footage, and just making clips that we can just sort of upload to YouTube and TikTok for kind of search intent volume.
Yeah, it's such a smart idea because, one, YouTube is the second largest search engine on the planet behind Google, and especially for things like recipes and cooking, a lot of other categories, a lot of the how-to categories that it really crushes on. TikTok search is exploding, right? So both of those make a ton of sense. And I'm really glad you brought this up, because I think there's a narrative that says, hey, Google is going to get eaten by ChatGPT or Perplexity or TikTok search. And listen, I think there are some existential threats to Google out there without question.
Right.
But you mentioned something, and I've actually seen this. Google's earnings are up quarter over quarter. There's more searches conducted on Google now than a quarter ago. And so they're still in good position if they play the game right to be viable. But regardless, there's still some opportunities for you right now to lean into search. And so there's some SEO pieces that help with traditional search. I know you're talking about kind of the AI SEO or whatever, AI optimization. I think that's really important as well. And it even ties into Google with Gemini and AI mode and things like that. And so love that you're still leaning into trying to get good quality backlinks. That's something that I think a lot of people have abandoned. It's still relevant, even though Google tried to say a few years ago, we don't really pay attention to backlinks.
They do.
Like, that was the core of Google. Google's original innovation was looking at backlinks, because those are third-party votes on what content to trust. They still matter, right? So backlinking, leaning into traditional SEO, into AI optimization as well. And so what all are you guys doing there from a content standpoint that's helping with SEO?
I think we kind of done it in two stages. The first SEO firm we worked with really just helped with getting a lot of technical aspects together. I didn't realize how technical
it's important.
Your website had to be. It was mind blowing the amount of detail that you have to pay attention to.
Yeah, from a crawlability standpoint, a speed standpoint, the algorithm making sense of it, or the crawlers making perfect sense of it, that sort of thing. So yeah, the technical aspect of SEO does make a difference.
And then, we were doing, recipes and we kind of got away from that a little bit. But we're launching a new YouTube channel. And I think it's more in my, thought process is like, we kind of got the website foundation sort of done. And now we're ranking on number 2. Again, I think the backlinking, I think some more kind of current information obviously can help. Really we're trying to be the authority for hot spring chili. So what does that mean? It means you just don't come to us for sauces. It means you come to us for fresh peppers, frozen, freeze-dried, powders, spices, so like we have to be
Hatch Green Chilies equals fresh chili company. Like that's what you're trying to create.
Exactly. And I think too, like also not discounting like hot honey, spicy ketchup, just
both those products are having a moment right now. I just started seeing like some local pizzerias that are doing hot honey served with your pizza, and let me tell you something, that will blow your mind and will change the game for pizza. It's so good. Yeah.
And we make an excellent, hot honey. And so there's definitely those factors to consider too. But really, where I see, it moving is we gotta show up on YouTube consistently every day. And that's really the strategy that I'm implementing right now.
Yeah, and it's so powerful because not only are people searching directly on YouTube, but and this is something that Google announced during Google Marketing Live just about a week ago, is that there's going to be more, and you kind of alluded to this, there's going to be more visibility of video content in search results. And Google's been kind of testing this for a while, but if I ask a question of Google, and we're now seeing like with Gemini, the queries of 5 words or more have exploded. They're up like 150% this year versus last year. So more people are searching with voice, more people are searching with kind of an AI mindset rather than a traditional, SEO, 10 blue links mindset. And so Google's then weaving in like, hey, here's a clip from this YouTube video that answers your question. So check it out, right? And so I think there's just immense value to a brand like yours consistently cranking out great content. You'll get the YouTube search traffic. You'll start getting your videos showing up in Google search, and then of course you can take that audience you're building on YouTube, monetize it with YouTube ads as well, and so just tons and tons of benefits there.
Yeah, and that's where it is. I mean, what's funny is like I have all these numbers up year over year, right? And I'll be completely transparent with where I'm at now. Is I'm not really happy with the business numbers from a profitability standpoint.
Got it.
Because, Meta just eats so much. And really within the last 2 weeks, I'm started to pull back on Meta a little bit. We're about to get into chili season in July and August. So I think I can take this gamble a little bit. And, if we finish up 40% or 20%, what matters is the profitability, obviously, not the vanity metric of top line revenue. And I'm actually restructuring everything to be more content focused. And, we're going to focus on the creative, we're going to focus on the content, and we're really going to, treat, we're going to make sure our website's getting updated daily. We're going to make sure our YouTube gets updated daily. We're going to really try to do that for the rest of the year and see where we end up. So kind of an interesting approach, an interesting conversation right now.
Yeah, it's so interesting. But, as you look at how as a brand do we differentiate? How do we differentiate versus the competition? How do we build total enterprise value, whether we just hope to capitalize on that and take distributions and enjoy those profits for a long time, or if we decide to have an exit, having a community, having a consistent content engine, so hard to duplicate. It's so hard to match when you do that really, really well. Most other competitors, most other brands just can't. And so love that you're doing that. Love that you're leaning into SEO, to YouTube content, to organic social and paid social. One of the, and we're coming towards the end of our time, but you also talked about what's working is the owned channel growth, right? And this really ties into storytelling and, being intentional with your marketing, but you got a great email list. You guys put out great content. Can you talk a little bit about that? How have you built that owned media? Yeah. And then any powerful lessons from email and SMS that that have helped fuel that stable growth for Fresh Chilies?
Yeah. What's good is we have a pretty high repeat purchase rate, so, it's not a product that you sort of buy and like, oh, okay, that was cool. Like, oh, that was great. Let me try it again. Right. And so, yeah, I think, one of the things that we do kind of differently to kind of help is, again, I'm an agency guy. I'm a designer. I mean, I've worked with like Virgin Galactic and done stuff for ESPN and Discovery Channel. And so I get like design. I get like,
Yep.
How much brand matters. But I tell you, man, when you just write an email from the heart and sign your name at the bottom and it's just text only, I mean, people just feel like they're right there with you, kind of growing alongside you.
Yeah.
And
it truly feels like one-to-one communication.
Yeah. And I think that's been one of the most helpful things that we do. And the other thing that we kind of do is we really lean into like product drops and development and small batch, so they sell out. I mean, I think we're going into the season sold out of, I was actually going to try to do this for the next update next week, of how many products we've actually sold out of going into the season, because, it's a fine line where we're trying to forecast, but also be, small batch in a way that people feel like it is exclusive, that you just can't get in a retail setting. And so I think
and selling out a little bit's kind of cool because it really creates urgency, authentic urgency to buy the next drop because you're going to sell out.
Yeah. And so I think just people know like the email list is where you're going to find those, opportunities is something I think that kind of helps people engaged.
Yeah, that's great. Well, kind of last thing I want to chat about as we wrap up here. You talked about the Hatch Chili Challenge.
Yeah.
What is that? How did you execute that? How's that working?
So we did a sweepstakes giveaway that did really well for us, that we won last year, and just kind of got the ball rolling. We did just another 10,000 giveaway that my partner's flying out to give a check to the winner in person. The person's in Georgia, so it's going to fly out there this Friday and do that. And we just got to thinking, okay, what else can we do? And so we're going to give $10,000 away it's a contest, but basically one of the number one things people do, especially inspired how we just pour, chili on burgers, people just started kind of tagging us and like In-N-Out and Whataburger and McDonald's or Wendy's, and so we're like, hey, let's just make this a contest for people and give the winner 10,000. And so we just launched it, and people are already kind of excited and already kind of posting about it. And I think it's something too that it's just helped builds network effects. And what are you eating, and I think that's what we kind of want to do, is we want to create a burger revolution in America. Like, I think that's something that we can have fun with.
I love it, man. I love it. That is a noble cause right there. The burger revolution.
Yeah. So
I like it.
Chatting around with it.
It's amazing.
Fun with it.
Cool. And so then you get, you're building social proof, you're building community network effect. You can use some of that content for ads, right? And so it's just a brilliant way to build community, leverage that for storytelling and ad growth as well. And so, Chris, man, keep up the good work. As I said, I'm a huge fan. I'm a customer. I love the product. As I've introduced it to people in my family and in my community, they love it as well. And so, keep up the good work. And now, I want to visit in person and see the farms and see what you guys are up to. So
anytime,
I have to make that happen. But for those that are listening that are like, man, I got to try some of this stuff as well. How can they try some of your products?
Go to freshchilico.com, or you can find us on social at the Fresh Chili Co. And then, I'm a sucker. If you want to follow me at Chris Lang Social and DM me, I might send you a gift card. We'll see.
He's a good man as far as that's concerned, and all other areas. And hey, you are a really good follow on LinkedIn.
Oh, thank you.
Talk about storytelling. You host a podcast as well. You share amazing clips. And so, one, you got to go and just buy some fresh chilies, right? But also check out Chris's content. get on the newsletter, the email list. You'll get to see the marketing in action. That's a great way to learn as well. So check him out on LinkedIn. And then actually, do you want to plug your podcast, Chris? Because you actually create some great content with your podcast.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. We just launched Share Your Story. It's sponsored by Sendling, and it's something that's just about 40 days old, 45 days old. And, there's response. Again, I'm sort of new to it, but as you kind of seen, we're doing some things, outside the studio. I do have studio, but like today, we were in Washington Park and New York City, and we were interviewing the street style interview kind of ads.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of man on the street type thing.
Yeah. So this 21-year-old kid, his office is a park bench. And just to see the enthusiasm and the rawness of a 21-year-old entrepreneur is just really inspiring. So, we're trying to just kind of share stories of how other people are kind of building in the space.
It's amazing. We'll link to that in the show notes. Check out Chris Lang on LinkedIn and all the socials, and Fresh Chili Co. as well. With that, Chris, thanks so much, man. This was awesome. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. And as always, appreciate you tuning in. We'd love to hear more from you. If you found this show inspiring, share with a friend, share with your network. That would mean the world to us. And with that, until next time, thank you for listening.